Kyle McCord being named Ohio State's full-time starting quarterback means Devin Brown is now Ohio State's full-time backup quarterback. What does this mean, Stephen, for the redshirt freshman who got a chance to play extended snaps for the first time against Youngstown State, saw some good things, saw some bad things? Where does this leave him in terms of not just this season, but really what he has to look at for his whole Ohio State career?
Ryan Day said he's still going to play. We know what that means. It means at the end of games when you're just trying to put the team away. But it also just means that in 6 weeks when Ohio State's playing like Rutgers or something and Devin Brown's a handoff machine, we're going to be asking questions of, hey, why won't you let your backup quarterback throw the ball? Because that's what we did with Kyle McCord. But it just means it's just more development that needs to happen. And now it's happening fully with the twos, while last year it was happening on scout team and with the threes. So let's revisit this a year from now, whether Kyle McCord is here or not, and maybe he's in a better position to challenge it Devin Brown is. But we saw Devin Brown. We saw some good things. We saw some not so good things. But it just means that development continues behind the scenes.
Devin Brown's still going to get some first-team reps in practice, as Ryan Day said today. That's common. That's how it's usually done. You want that guy to have some experience with the first team, and he has that experience now going back to January, where he's essentially been splitting first-team reps that whole time. Has this process, Andrew, the way Ryan Day handled this, and even taking it into the season, has it put Ohio State in better position to have more confidence in its backup?
I don't know. I mean, did you really get enough of a sample size with Devin Brown? I mean, he only threw passes really against Youngstown State. Like, are you looking at that saying, all right, I feel a little bit better? I mean, maybe you're just feeling better from a baseline level of this guy has actually been on the field in a college game before. So maybe you're feeling that. I think the biggest thing for him, though, like Stephen was saying, is development. I think long-term projection is probably, that, especially at quarterback position, it's just too hard to project long-term. But short-term development has to be big because we all saw what happened in the NFL game last night with the Jets and the Bills. Like, things can change very quickly, and you obviously don't want that to happen to anybody, but backups have to be ready for situations like that. I mean, maybe you're playing Purdue, maybe you're playing Maryland, maybe you're playing Notre Dame, and Kyle McCord just doesn't have it that day, and they need to make a change. They have to make a change because his performance isn't there. Like, there are situations where you can expect Devin Brown to play, but like Steve was saying, those are kind of few and far between. So for him, it's just development, because when you get to the end of the season, if you do get to throw passes against Rutgers, you want to be able to prove that I have grown from Youngstown State to Rutgers, and I think that's his number one key right now.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that he couldn't play more against Indiana, because I think that's what everyone would stand here and having a little bit more confidence in. I think it would have got everyone to the same place at this point, the same decision at this point. I think Ryan Day had clearly telegraphed who he preferred by naming Kyle McCord the starter and how much he played him. So if you'd been able to play more possessions against Indiana, just get a little bit more experience, I think that would give everyone more security as to what Ohio State has in its backup quarterback. But I do think it was valuable that, unlike, say, 2021, C.J. Stroud played those first 3 games in their entirety, really, and it was only then Kyle McCord is having to come in and start in place of C.J. Stroud with literally no experience. So at least this process, whatever you want to say about it, did get Devin Brown real game experience against Youngstown State mostly, but possibly put him in a more comfortable position if he does have to come into a game in an urgent way and try to help Ohio State win in the next couple weeks, in the next couple of months. We will see how that turns out, and he's obviously – the questions about his long-term stay here really have to get all pushed back to the end of the year, because they are all determined or rely heavily on what Kyle McCord decides to do with his career. That's how it works with every starter and every backup. There's nothing weird about this situation. That's just the modern college football. Ryan Day has set up his quarterback room intentionally, more or less, for that to always be something that's hanging out there. And I think all those conversations have to get pushed back to no earlier than December. Probably more like January. More about this on Buckeye Talk, and get the text 614-350-3315 news, intel, analysis every day from us at cleveland.com.